If you've broken anything, I'm gonna shoot you.
Slash grabbed at his sore right ankle.
Oh, thanks for your sympathy.
But Pecos was gone, having dashed out of sight around the front of the brick shack in hard pursuit of their quarry. Slash rolled on to his hands and knees. His right ankle felt as though a railroad spike had been driven through it. But he didn't think it was broken, just twisted. He heaved himself to his feet and glanced at his poor Winchester lying at the base of Carlisle's near his hat. Not wanting to take the time to retrieve the abused rifle, he shucked one of the stag-gripped 44s and took off running painfully around behind the shack he'd so recently fallen from. He stopped so suddenly that his bad ankle gave and he dropped to a knee, falling forward. The move saved his life, for the gunman had just lifted his head above a stack of firewood abutting the back wall of the next low adobe brick building 20 feet beyond the one Slash had fallen from. The man triggered a round, the revolver popping hollowly. The bullet whistled 2 feet above Slash's head. Slash raised his 44 as the gunman gritted his teeth and cocked his own Colt, then narrowed one anxious bright eye as he drew another bead on Slash. Slash squeezed his 44's trigger, the bullet plowed into a log just beneath his assailant's head, blowing slivers in the man's face. The man triggered his own Colt wide, the bullet screeching off a rock behind Slash. The gunman drew his head back, squeezing his eyes closed. He rose and ran, crouching, limping, too, it appeared, around the adobe building's far corner, disappearing down the side.
Pecos, he's over here!
Slash heaved himself to his feet and ran to the adobe shack's rear corner on the far side of the woodpile. He glanced around the corner and into the break between the adobe building and the burned-out hulk of a livery barn. He pulled his head back as the gunman triggered another round at him, the bullets screeching off the adobe inches from where Slash's face had just been.
Hold it, you polecat!
Slash looked into the break again. The gunman stood halfway between the rear of the adobe shack and the front and about 10 feet out away from it. He was turned to face the adobe shack, his gun rig still looped over his right arm, his Colt in his right hand. He whipped his gaze toward where Pecos was poking his head out from around the adobe building's front corner. Slash stepped out from the corner. His 44 leaped and roared. The gunman turned toward Slash as Slash's bullet plowed into his right arm. Blood instantly stained the upper arm of his unbuttoned cream shirt. Pecos extended his Russian and fired. The gunman screamed again and whipped to his left as Pecos' bullet tore into his left arm.
You dirty dogs!
The gunman gritted his teeth as he raised his pistol toward Pecos. He didn't get it level before Slash and Pecos each fired 2 more rounds. All 4 rounds cutting into the gunman's torso and sending him tumbling backward to lay in a writhing pile near the still smoldering ruins of the livery barn. He dropped his Colt and his gun rig on which 2 more Colts were holstered. He lay on his back, grinding one boot heel into the turf. He pressed his shaking fingers into the ground to each side of him. Slowly, Slash and Pecos moved toward him, Slash still limping on his bad ankle. He stared down at the dying killer. He was a small man, probably not over 5.5 feet tall, reed thin. No wonder he'd been able to make that jump. He was long-faced, ugly as a snake, long, thin, sandy brown hair slithered around his shoulders. He was pale and thin-lipped, and his eyes were a washed-out green.
You devils killed me.
Where's the rest of them?
Go to hell.
Slash and Pecos shared a conferring glance. Slash blew a hole through the killer's pale forehead. Then he and Pecos hurried back toward the main street.